What is up, bookworms and constant readers? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the sixth book in the Witcher series, The Tower of Swallows by Andrzej Sapkowski. This book, I want to say right away, was my least favorite so far. I gave it a 3 out of 5. And let me tell you why. So, if you haven't read any of the other books, I don't know why you're watching this video. I've been told by a couple different people that I shouldn't do this every video, so I'm not going to do it. Check out my other videos. I explain on where to start with this series. Do not start at book 1. Start with the short stories. Watch my earlier videos, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So this book almost broke the series for me. The book is not bad, and you shouldn't skip this book. There's a ton of information in this book. But what did it for me with this book, it reminded me so much of the fifth Harry Potter book, where they introduce Umbridge. And that book, it almost did the Harry Potter series for me, in the same way. For me, there's this really thin line on how much abuse your hero of the story or heroes of the story should endure and should be inflicted on them. And I think this, like that Harry Potter book, it's really like crossed the line. Like that fifth book, I believe that's Order of the Phoenix. Harry being alone, no friends, the constant abuse from Umbridge, just nothing going right. I mean, that almost like ended that series for me. I was really skeptical on the sixth book, and that's how I am now with this series. And it's not just this book. So this started like 2 books ago. So it's been going on for 3 books now. First, Geralt, he almost dies at the Battle of Thanedd. I think that's how you pronounce that. He almost dies. His Witcher sword is destroyed. Triss helps him escape through a porthole, and he gets help from the elves of Brooklyn Forest. They heal him with this elven magic, and then you find out in the next book, oh, by the way, you have none of your Witcher potions. You no longer have your Witcher armor. Oh, by the way, your sword can't be replaced. That's like damn near impossible. And this magic healing really hasn't done its job fully when he sets off to search for Ciri. And he's got this knee that is in constant pain, constant bothering him. He can't fight like he used to. He's not as strong as he used to be because he doesn't have these Witcher potions anymore. And now in this book, because that's not enough, now he actually loses his wolf's head pendant, which allows him to perform Witcher magic. That's gone, can't be replaced, and he even says he's a Witcher no more. And he's not the only one in this book that is just basically in hell with no outlook of anything promising to come. He has no idea if Yennefer is alive. He has no idea where the hell Ciri's at, if she's dead or alive. And then on top of that, you look at Ciri, and she's going through her own hell. So this Bonhart captures her, kills all of her friends, and then beheads them and makes her watch. And if that wasn't enough, he beats her on a regular basis, physically, with a whip, and then he also punches and kicks her. And this is all for his own pleasure and pure enjoyment. She's basically become his slave, and she's forced to fight to the death in these underground arena battles. And then we also learn what happens to Yennefer. That's a really interesting story. I don't want to ruin it for her, but she's in her own personal hell also. And for 3 books now, we've been putting these heroes through hell. Nothing is going right. When does this end and the heroes start to win? Because this book, it's something you need to read, but I'm just warning you, it's not enjoyable to read. And I mean, the events that happen are not enjoyable to read about. The way Sapkowski does this story and lays it out is really good, and it works, and it moves the story along. And so the way this book goes, it starts out and there's this hermit. He finds Ciri and her horse, and at first he thinks that she's dead. And he doesn't know who she is. It just looks like a young girl. And they're out in the middle of this swampy marsh. And you'll hear over and over how this dude lives out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody comes around. Nobody knows that he's there. Excuse me. And he learns that she is alive, but she is severely wounded and almost dead. So he takes her and the horse back to his little house that he has. And for a few weeks, he nurses her back to health. And when she's finally healed, most of this book is her telling the story of what happened to her to this old hermit. And he has his own unique story also that you learn about. And then really the second half of the book is she has discovered what she needs to do. She's becoming more comfortable with who she is, and she's starting to understand the power that she possesses and why so many people are after her. And with the help of this old guy who, without spoiling anything, he's like this scholar, kind of know-it-all, helps her understand that the portal that she used, there's towers all over the land, and if she can get to one of these towers, it'll have a similar porthole that will get her back to Thanedd. Again, if I'm saying that wrong, let me know down in the comments. Where this all started, and back to her friends. She does not know that her friends are no longer there, that they're actually looking for her. And they're, I think, 350 miles from the closest tower. And so the second half of the book deals with her setting off to reach this tower before she's caught. And the story is beautifully done. You also, in the second half, you learn of Yennefer's fate and what's going on with her. There's really only one chapter in the book that I thought was kind of pointless. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why it was in there. And I want to say it was like chapter 10, chapter 9, somewhere around in there. It was totally pointless chapter. I mean, it was so pointless. I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember the whole time I'm reading this chapter, I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? Where's it going? It went nowhere. What this book does do is it answers a lot of questions that we've had for quite a while now. And the story, it does move forward, but it doesn't move forward a lot, because at the end you're left with a lot of questions on, what the hell just happened. And it's kind of a common theme with Sapkowski. He'll answer questions, but then he leaves you with even more questions. And then later on, he'll answer those questions and leave you with more. And I'm just wondering, with 2 books left, the book that I'm on right now, it is the thickest book at like 500 something pages. But I'm just wondering, does Sapkowski have enough time left to wrap this whole story up? Because I'm roughly 60, I think, pages in to the next book, and so far I'm just kind of like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand. Like, we're really far into the future, and we're talking about what happened in the books that we've read as kind of a legend, kind of fairy tale almost. And it's just like, I don't understand what the hell is going on. I'm 60 pages into this book, and we haven't started, telling what happened to Geralt. What happened to Yennefer and Ciri. We get little bits, but they're not going anywhere. They're not answering any questions or pushing that story forward. So with only 2 books left, I'm kind of worried that this isn't going to wrap up nicely, and you're going to finish, the last book and be like, what the hell? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. But yeah, this book, it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't a hard book to get through. That's one aspect, that it wasn't like the 5th Harry Potter book. That 5th Harry Potter book I struggled with. I mean, it took me, I want to say, like 2 months to read that book, because I would read a little bit, I would get so angry, I would just put it down and not go back to it. And this one, I mean, it is a page turner. You want to know what happened. You want to hear Ciri's story. You just don't like what happens. I mean, if you're like me. And so that was the big downside to this. And I want to say it's either this book or The Lady in the Lake, or The Lady of the Lake, that I'm reading now, is the book where everybody tells me that's where the series kind of falls apart. And this is the point where a lot of people quit reading the series. I'm not like that. I've read 6 of these books now. I'm going to finish. There's only 2 to go. And I'm going to finish this series. I want to see how it ends, where it ends, what happens. I'm not one to not finish a book. I always finish a book. I don't care how boring it is, how much I don't like it. I will finish the book. A perfect example is I have the complete collection of Death Note in one volume. Thing is like this thick. It's like 2,000 something pages. I have been reading this book for over a year now because I'm determined to finish it. So this series will be finished on this channel, and I will talk about it. And as far as Death Note is concerned, once I finish it, it'll be on the channel, and I'll talk about it and why it took me so long to finish that book. But yeah, so far, The Lady of the Lake, I'm kind of, what is going on? I'm not understanding what has happened. You do pick up with Siri and her situation, but it's totally different than it was in this book. And it's kind of weird because she is in Camelot and she meets one of the Knights of the Round Table, and she decides to tell this knight her story. So I'm hoping this is going to kind of fill in the gaps on how she got to where she's at now. But that's all I got for you on The Tower of Swallows. Again, 3 out of 5. Definitely don't skip it. It answers a lot of questions. But you're not going to like what happens to the heroes in this book if you're anything like me. And it really almost broke me on the series. But I'm determined to finish this series. I will finish this series. Hopefully by the end of December, maybe first week of January, it'll be finished. I've got news coming on changes to the channel with my December wrap-up in a few weeks. I think I've come up with an idea on how to improve subscriptions and viewership and get this channel rolling to what I want it to be, because ultimately I want a bigger audience to talk to than just the 4 of you out there that subscribe to my channel. So if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give it a thumbs down. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. If you've read The Tower of Swallows, comment below. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was this the book that broke the series for you? A lot of friends who, I don't know if you call them friends because they won't subscribe to the channel, but they have tons of advice on what I should and shouldn't be doing. They say that this book ended it for them. For me, I've already started reading the next one. Hopefully within a week and a half, it'll be done. And we'll talk about that. So, until next time, read more books.